All right, it's the appointed hour, gentlemen and ladies. And so we will call this meeting to order of the Town of Hilton Head's Planning Commission. I will first order of business. Let me get my little American flag out here. We'll go with the Pledge of Allegiance if you'll join me. I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and
to the republic
for
which
which
it stands,
one nation
nation,
under
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, may I ask Teresa, are we in compliance with the Freedom of Information Act?
Yes, sir, we are.
All right, great. Teresa, may I ask you to call the roll of the commission members?
Yes, sir. Mr. Siebel,
Here.
Mr. Alfred,
Here.
Mr. Perry,
Here.
Mr. Campbell,
Here.
Mr. O'Neill,
Here.
Mr. D'Arienzo,
Here.
Mr. Collett,
Here.
Mr. Hens,
Here.
Mr. Scanlon.
Here. All
Thank
right,
you.
our first order of business here is the approval of the agenda. Does staff have any changes to the agenda before us?
No, sir.
Okay. May I get a motion from the commission to approve the agenda for today?
I'll move.
Mr.
Second.
O'Neill and Mr. Alfred is the second. All right. Any opposed? All in favor of approving the agenda as is, please raise your right hand. Mr. Collins, oh, you're on there. Okay. It's a unanimous vote to approve the agenda, and that passes. Now we go to approval of minutes of a previous meeting of November the 17th. I hope you had a chance to look through that. I'll see if anything needs to be corrected. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Mr. Alfred, Mr. Perry, second. All right. All in favor of approving those minutes, raise your right hand. I have a unanimous vote to approve the minutes of that meeting. Teresa, any appearance by citizens today?
No, sir, not at this time. I will note that public comments concerning agenda items were to be submitted electronically via the Open Town Hall portal by 4:30 yesterday. Upon the conclusion of the public comment period, there were no comments of record. In addition to submitting comments on the portal, citizens were provided the opportunity to call into the meeting to comment on agenda items and non-related agenda items. However, there were no requests to give public comments by phone. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. We have at this point no unfinished business, so we'll move immediately into new business. We're here today to look at STDV 002-601-2021. It's a request from the Hilton Head Island Fire Rescue on behalf of Richette Mitchell and her family to name a new access easement off Marshland Road as Oysterman's Trace. And it's going to be presented by the fire and rescue staff. Would staff like to make a presentation, Teresa?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We do have Miss Becky Nugent on the call and also Johida Pfister.
Okay.
And we have Missy Lewick. Missy is the case manager for the application, and I believe Miss Nugent and Chief Pfister, excuse me, will be making a presentation.
Fair enough. Becky, would you like to go first?
Yes, sir. Let me share my screen. Good morning, by the way, and Happy New Year.
Good morning.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Are there any Oysterman on Oysterman Strait?
Can any of you see my screen?
Not yet.
No. Not yet.
Hope we get to see a map. Wait a minute, this looks good. All right, we do have a map.
Okay. Okay, is that better?
Yes,
Okay. I don't know if anybody, maybe Missy wants to give a background of how this came about. I'll do mine first because this one was a little bit different than the one that we had the last time. But my name is Becky Nugent. I'm the town's 911 communications manager. I will be presenting the staff report for this application. Missy is the senior planner and she is available if you do have any questions. This is Evelina Road, which is moving to Oysterman's Trace, hopefully. As you can see, this is a copy, this is a map overview of the proposed vehicular access easement. Oysterman's Trace is a new easement off Marshland Road, which will affect 3 addresses. One is 94 Marshland Road, 60 Evelina Road, and then 64 Evelina Road. Anybody have any questions so far?
how far down marshland is this between the Matthews and the Cross Island?
Oh, I would probably 2.5 miles from Cross Island, I would say 2.5 to 3 miles.
Okay.
It'll be on your left if you come from the Cross Island.
Okay. All right.
Becky, if I may add, the location is directly adjacent to Indigo Run. So at the border of the access easement is the perimeter fence for Indigo Run.
And
Okay.
it's almost right across the street from the like old oyster park next to the old oyster factory.
Oh, okay.
If that gives any direction.
All right, thank you. All right, so we have 3 residences that will need this fire rescue. All right, any discussion among the commission? We'll go through the discussion order here. Mr. Campbell, any questions or comments?
No questions.
Mr. O'Neill,
No comments.
Mr. Alfred?
Yes. Is there a policy that where possible egress comes from a side street as opposed to a main street, i.e. Evelina versus Marshland?
So a little, and Missy may be able to help a little bit with this as well. Access has to be granted over an access easement. And that's why these were originally addressed off of Evelina. That is how we wanted to try to accomplish the access, but there could not be agreement on giving access over Evelina. So they had to put in their own. We did try at the beginning to get them access from Evelina, but because there has to be agreements to use the access easement and that could not be reached, they had to put in their own access.
It sounds to me like you're saying, yes, there is a preference to provide access off of a side street as opposed to a main street, but not a requirement. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Yes, and like I said, the original access easement owner has to give the rights to be able to use that access easement, and that could not be reached in this case.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Hens?
I believe that oysterman is one word, but that's just me.
I think you're right.
No.
We staff might want to check that, and does it complicate matters if we make it a one word, one instead of 2?
Becky, did you not ask them that question, the applicants?
Yes, I clarified that several times with them if they wanted Oyster Man. She definitely wanted that M capitalized, so we agreed on the 2 words.
Okay, fair enough. I don't want to put somebody on the street they don't want to be on. Mr. Collett, do you have any comments or questions?
No comments.
Mr. Di Renzo,
No comments.
Mr. Sebold,
No questions.
Mr. Perry.
Yeah, I will say that I like the name. It is, after reading the presentation, it's reflective of a history of Hilton Head and of the family. So I like the name.
Fair enough. I have one question. Was there an existing connection onto marshland already?
Yes, there was a driveway that went to the 2 houses that were there. Part of our addressing standard is that once there are more than 2 homes, we name the street because it gets too confusing to try to find addresses off of Marshland Road. And then we don't know where, response wise, where they are. The other thing in this case is that there were really not enough addresses left on Marshland, even if we wanted to keep them as a Marshland Road address. So that was another reason we had asked for access originally to be off of Evelina, because we did have addresses there. The access was already established. But in this case, we had to make that an access easement and not a driveway any longer, and give them addresses off of it.
Thank you, Chief. I take it that the new road, or whatever we want to call it, it complies with your standards in terms of its width and the like for fire and rescue to access?
Yes, they're in the process of upgrading it to the 20 feet and an all-weather driving surface.
Okay. All righty. Well, that answers my question. Any other comments or do we need to go around again? I think it's pretty good, right? If anybody has a comment, please just speak up. If not, what I want to do here is, do we have a motion to approve of this particular designation?
So moved.
Mr. Perry, Mr. Campbell seconds. All those in favor of approving this motion, please raise your right hand. I see a unanimous vote as well on this one, Teresa. All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So the motion passes. In terms of commission business, I have, Ann was going to be at this meeting and tell us about it, but I have been in touch, as you guys know, with Mark Orlando, our town manager, and he will be attending our next meeting to brief us on his strategic plan, which is now, I guess, been approved by town council. And he will tell us which of the elements of his strategic plan will be coming through the planning commission en route to town council. So that will be on our next meeting. So I hope you all can make it for that one. And that really includes my commission's report and commission business and the chairman's report. Committee reports. Under committee reports, I want to go first with Mr. Alfred. On the rules of procedure, could you explain what's going on there?
Yes. A meeting was scheduled for the Rules and Procedure Committee for January 10th for the purpose of considering eliminating 1 meeting per month. Subsequently, apparently the law department decided to seek a delay in that while they review other boards and commissions. So that meeting scheduled for the 10th will be postponed. It is my feeling, and I gather the sentiment of a number of you, that it would be desirable to go to 1 meeting a month, the Wednesday afternoon meeting, as opposed to the meeting on the first Wednesday. I did ask Ann Siren if in the meantime we could attempt to discourage applicants from selecting the Wednesday morning meeting as opposed to the later Wednesday afternoon meeting. And she replied that they will offer applicants the option to reschedule to the second Wednesday instead of the first. So that's where that matter stands now, and the meeting of the Rules Committee date has not yet been rescheduled.
Thank you, Stephen. Let me get a show of hands here. How many on the commission would be in favor of one meeting a month to be held on the third Wednesday at 3 p.m.? Show your hands if you would agree with that. Okay, we have a unanimous vote on there as well, Teresa.
Mike, excuse me, I like the idea of that. And then when we need another meeting, we can just schedule it
Yeah,
as needed.
yeah, a special meeting, if there's a time consideration, yes, then we would be called to order for a special meeting to take care of something that's in a timely manner. We're getting near CIP season here. So Mark, anything to report on CIP?
No, I have nothing to report. I did ask when we can anticipate our first meeting of the year, which would really be to work on 23 capital.
Right.
But it has not been scheduled yet. Perhaps
All right.
that's a question for Mr. Orlando when he comes to brief us at our next meeting.
Fair enough. On comprehensive plan, John, we have nothing at this point, I take it? No.
Nothing at all.
All right. Thank you, John. On the Gulagichi Task Force, Sean, anything there that should come to our attention?
No, we just approve our schedule for next year.
Okay, fair enough. All right. LMO, Alan, has anything come to you on LMO at this point?
No, nothing's come to me on that.
That's
Nothing yet.
surprising. Usually that's a heavy duty committee. Usually there's a lot of traffic there. Thank you, Alan. Rules of procedure we just talked about. So are there any, Teresa or Ann or whoever may else, but Jamie, is there anything under staff reports that we need to know about?
The only thing I was going to have is to remind you again that Mr. Orlando and Josh Gruber will be at your next meeting on the 19th to present the strategic action plan, and also note that that will count towards your continuing education.
Oh, bingo. That's terrific.
Ooh.
Will they go for an hour and a half?
Maybe.
How about three?
Will that be a via Zoom on the 19th of January?
I anticipate it will be.
Yeah, until further notice that, yeah, we're on Zoom. All right. Is there any other business to come before the commission today, staff? If not, gentlemen, we have done our duty for today, and I will.
Mike?
Yes. Please go
One
ahead.
question. At our last meeting on this in November, we talked about a workforce housing meeting being scheduled on the 26th of January. Is that still being pursued?
Yeah, can anybody on staff, enlighten us on that one?
We had looked at January 26th for workforce housing meeting, but that has been postponed, and we're looking at a date in late February at this point.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, if there's no further business before the commission, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.